Hey everyone, it's Fun Around. My name is Jordan. This video will be for Monday's slate of NBA games, and I do have some lines out. They're like PrizePicks lines and Underdog lines, but they'll at least give a visual for some of the stuff that I'm seeing. But if I don't have anything, there's going to be the prop radar that'll pop up, and I'll give you the player's name. So I'm going to break down the games, give you my lean on the spread, give you some players to look out for with really good matchups, talk about the game, have fun, and let's dive into it. You will see images that come up on the screen. Those will be from a data app called Outlier. There's a link in the description for a 7-day free trial for Outlier. So this first game is going to be the Lakers at the Hornets. Lakers are 7.5-point favorites. Lakers Austin Reeves is questionable, and then for the Hornets, LaMelo Ball is already declared out. And another one who is questionable that is really big for this one is going to be Miles Bridges. So if he is out, then it's going to be a lot of heavy offense on Colin Sexton and Con Knipple. Miles Bridges is normally that guy that'll kind of take over whenever LaMelo is out, and he did that a lot last year. So that's a big one. Lakers are 7-3 against the spread. They're coming off a really bad loss versus a beat-up Hawks team, and now they're going to be going up against a beat-up Hornets team. I can't explain that game. I have no idea what happened. Their defense just wasn't able to stop the Hawks. Luka was playing a decent game. DeAndre Ayton was playing a decent game, and it just got out of hand. It just happens. It's the NBA. All these guys are professional basketball players, so anything can happen. The Hornets are 4-5 against the spread, and the Hornets are giving up the fourth most points to teams and the third most assists. So really good matchup here for the Lakers. I expect the Lakers to feel a little bit embarrassed. Hopefully they feel embarrassed from that loss against the Hawks, and a lot of media talk and everything. And I expect them to come back with a vengeance, get a nice win here. Spoiler alert on the spread. So the two weakest spots for the Hornets are the bigs, the power forward position and the center position. Second most points to power forwards, and then the fifth most points to centers. So I know I pointed out DeAndre Ayton last time around, and his line was like at 13.5. He actually played pretty well against the Hawks. He was 5 for 5, had 11 points. I know they benched all their starters like halfway through the third, so he was well on his way for clearing his points line and doing even more damage. And I pointed out last time, in games without Austin Reeves, he has 22 points and 29 points before that blowout loss. So if Austin Reeves sits, I really do like DeAndre Ayton here. And then even if he plays, I still would lean his way just with the good matchup against the Hornets. And then with the assist given up, Luka assist, do not hate his assist line. One of the top 3 matchups for assists. So especially if Austin Reeves sits, that's kind of the catalyst for some of those Lakers plays. It is a big deal. And then for the Hornets, Con Knipple has really kind of taken over with LaMelo Ball out. He's great from the 3-point line, hitting his 3-point line many times. And the Lakers give up the 11th most threes, so this is a good matchup for him. So as far as a lean, I'm going to lean the Lakers to get a big win here on the road after that disappointing loss against the Hawks. So his next one's going to be the Blazers versus the Magic. Magic are 3.5-point favorites, but they will be on a back-to-back. The Blazers have no new injuries, and the Magic have no new injuries because they haven't submitted it yet. They could do injury management type stuff because of the back-to-back, so we'll see. Blazers are 6-3 against the spread, and the Magic are 3-7 against the spread. And on a back-to-back this year, they beat the Hornets by 16, and they lost to the Bulls by 12. So kind of two different stories there. Played a bad team, they were still fine. Played a good team, it was a struggle for them on a back-to-back. So Blazers struggle mostly versus point guards and small forwards. So Jalen Suggs just had a good game. Franz Wagner Played all right at around 20 points on Sunday. So those are the two guys you look out for, but I really don't like taking guys on a back-to-back unless the line, it just looks amazing. So for the Blazers, they have a lot of really good scorers. I've talked about them a lot. The best matchup is going to be for Drew Holiday. The Magic give up the most points to the point guard position. So Drew Holiday is, keep an eye out on his line. We took his rebounds, assists last time around, and he absolutely crushed it. And then Jeremy Grant and then Deni Avdija actually have one of the toughest matchups for the power forward position, and that's where I know Deni Avdija is more of a small forward, but that's where they have him in the lineups at power forward. And all these power forwards and these positions really, they're kind of meshed together right now with the way the NBA is. It's more of like a wing. The wing, it's not like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 anymore. But that's how we can capture the data. But it's really hard to pick how players are playing. But that's a whole other thing. But still, it's gonna be a tough matchup with Paolo Banchero guarding at least one of them. It's gonna make it a tough day for them. So keep an eye out on their lines. If it is lower, potentially look out for them, especially Jeremy Grant, who would be coming off the bench and going up against potential bench players for the Magic. But they've been super consistent all year long, as well as Sharp for the Trailblazers. They just have a lot of consistency on this team, and been able to score a lot of points. It's like they almost score the exact amount of points, same amount of points, every single game for each one of them. Then Deni Avdija kind of has a big game here and there. So for a lean on this one, the Blazers on the road against a Magic team on a back-to-back that struggled against a better team on a back-to-back last time they had one. So this next one's going to be the Wizards at the Pistons. Pistons are 12.5-point favorites. Pistons will be on a back-to-back, and they'll have to travel. The Wizards, Koulibaly is out, and then Tobias Harris and Isaiah Stewart were out on Sunday for the Pistons. So we'll see if they play. The Pistons won in a close one, and Cade had to play 40 minutes. The other starters played near 40 minutes. So I don't really like that on a back-to-back. Wizards are 1-9 against the spread, and the Pistons are 7-3 against the spread. The only back-to-back the Pistons played this year, the Cavaliers beat them by 21 points. And this is a great matchup for Jalen Duren. I think Jalen Duren, he's just been on a tear lately. He did have to play a lot of minutes, but I think the playing a lot of minutes on back-to-backs hurt jump shooters the most because your legs get tired. Could throw off your shot just a little bit. But he just had 21 points and 16 rebounds. Before that, he had 30 points, 11 rebounds, 22 and 22. Then he had a 14 and 9, and then he had 33 and 10, and then he had 21 and 13. So really great on scoring and rebounding. And the Wizards give up the second most points and the most rebounds. This is almost one of the best matchups possible for centers for their points and rebounds. So definitely double-double is up in the air, and his points and rebounds is something to take a look at. And then for the Wizards, I don't really like any of their matchups here against the Pistons. CJ McCollum scored 25 points over the past 2 games. So that's someone to consider if you really want to take a Wizards player. They're just kind of misfits with some like older guys, with some kind of young guys with some potential. It's just a really tough roster right now. So I don't like that the Pistons players had to play so many minutes. And I was considering the Wizards kind of jumping on a team that, is on a back-to-back. And I did that the last time around, and they actually were close for a while. And then near the end of the game, they started to lose it. So I'm going to trust the Pistons here at home, get some home cooking on that way back home on the back-to-back, and they've been so good against the spread. I'm going to lean the Pistons to get this win. Next one's going to be the Cavaliers versus the Heat. Cavaliers are 6.5-point favorites. Cavs' Larry Nance Jr. is questionable, and Garland should be back for this one. He just sat on the back-to-back last time around. The Heat, Bam Adebayo will be out again. Both of these teams are top 7 in pace, so this is a fireworks matchup. A lot of points are going to be going around. This is one, if you're going to focus on one game, this might be one you can target. Cavaliers are 3-7 against the spread, and the Heat are 7-3 against the spread. I did notice first quarter for Jared Allen, so I'm a Cavaliers fan, obviously. The Cavaliers like to start every single game with pick and rolls, get Jared Allen involved, and then post ups with Evan Mobley. You give it to your bigs, you play inside and out. That's how, like, the traditional way of playing basketball. Then it opens up things for 3-point shooters. It opens up lanes for cutters, all that stuff. So Jared Allen normally gets a big chunk of his points in the first quarter. So his first quarter prop, he has hit it in 5 straight games. And with Darius Garland there, Darius Garland kind of unlocks a different Jared Allen. So I had pointed him out in the last game, for the last game. And I said he plays better with Darius Garland. And then they ruled Darius Garland out. And I was like, oh, crap. And he went under. So as long as Darius Garland is there, Jared Allen's got a lot better chance of scoring, especially in the first quarter. He just needs 2 baskets. So I really like that prop for him. And another one, the Heat are giving up the 10th most assists. Honestly, I looked at Darius Garland assist. I don't hate it. I looked at Donovan Mitchell assist. I don't hate it. But one that I absolutely loved, and I don't know if this is where the books are going to have it at, but Lonzo Ball assist for 3.5. He's hit this in all but one game this year. So if this is the one the books put out, I think that's a great line. And then even with Darius Garland, he played one game with Darius Garland. He had 8 assists. So one of his best passing games was with Darius Garland there, playing off of each other. So definitely like Lonzo Ball as some sneaky plays in what should be a fast-paced matchup. A lot of assists should go around. And then for the Heat, I went and I was looking around at some players, checked out Jaime Jaquez. Look at his rebounds and assists with Bam Adebayo out this year. So he's at 17 total and 19 total. And the Cavaliers aren't tough matchups in those areas. They're in the middle of the league for rebounds and assists. So really great matchup for Jaime Jaquez Jr. playing around 30 minutes a game with Bam Adebayo out. So as far as the lean goes, the last time these two teams saw each other was in the playoffs, and the last time Cleveland was in Miami was in those 2 playoff games where they beat Miami by 37 and 55. So with Garland there, they've been much better, and I have a feeling they're going to be very comfortable playing on this court where they got some really big wins. So I do like the Cavaliers at -6.5. I'm going to lean their way. Before I get into the rest of these games, if you guys could, please like the video. If you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. If you have a little bit of extra time, could you leave a comment for the algorithm? You can just say anything. Leave a W. That helps get this video out there for more people to see. And also, I want to shout out a couple of social sports books. These are sports books where you can bet money lines and spreads and single bet in states where you normally can't bet on DraftKings and FanDuel. This is Onyx Odds. You do play 10, get 100, and then Novig is play 5, get 50. And then I also want to shout out the really great deal for Underdog. It's bet 5, get 100. So if you do all those together, if you don't have any of them, you do them all together, you can just play $20 and you get 250 to play around with. And hopefully you just win a bunch of money and then cash out and then run away. So I think it's a really good deal. Promo code's flying around 11. This next game is the Spurs versus the Bulls. Spurs are 3.5-point favorites. They will not have Dylan Harper. Bulls, Patrick Williams is probable, and then Josh Giddey is questionable. Josh Giddey is the heart and soul right now of the Bulls, and that injury is going to determine this entire game. So Spurs are 5-4 against the spread. Bulls are 7-2 against the spread. And then one line that I saw for the Spurs I really like. I'm not going to go with any of the Bulls right now just because I don't know about Josh Giddey, and it's really tough to pick if he's there or not. So Bulls are giving up the 9th most points to the point guard position. I talked about De'Aaron Fox and how low his line was last time around. It was at 13.5. I said it's probably going to be the lowest you're going to see all year long. And then now it's at 18.5. And he scored 24 in his debut, playing 30 minutes. He had no minutes restriction. So everything that I read about him ramping up his conditioning and all that, and to be able to play without a minutes restriction was correct. So that I was happy to see that. And then last year against the Bulls, he scored 26 points against them in around 32 minutes. And then I filtered to games where he played with Wemby last year, and he went over this in all but one game with Wemby last year. So really like this line at 18.5. Probably gonna be the second lowest line you ever see with De'Aaron Fox after this game. So I like that one. And as far as the lean goes, Spurs are second toughest defense in the NBA. Right now, with all the injuries up in the air, I'm going to lean the Spurs on the road. This next one's going to be the Bucks at the Mavericks. Bucks are 2.5-point favorites. The Bucks will be on a back-to-back and traveling after a tough loss versus a very good Houston team. Currently, no new injuries for them, but they are on a back-to-back. They could do injury management type stuff. The last time they were on a back-to-back, they played the Raptors. They lost by 28 points. So the Mavericks, Anthony Davis and Daniel Gafford are questionable, and Derek Lively is doubtful. Bucks are 6-4 against the spread, but they're 1-4 over the last 5, so they haven't been good. And then the Mavs are 4-6 against the spread, and they had a very solid win versus a great Wizards team last time around. So reports have come out now about the Mavericks ownership. There is negativity there, and it's wearing on them and troubling them. So wonder why. Mavericks are the second best matchup for rebounds. So Giannis just had a really tough matchup against the Rockets for rebounds. He went under, so this could be a really good bounce back spot for his rebounding. So take a look out for rebounds for Giannis. And then the Bucks also did give up a lot of rebounds to the 1, 2, and 3 positions. The 6th most to point guards, 6th most to shooting guards, and 3rd most to small forwards. Then they're tough against the 4 and 5. So I'll be honest here. I'm reaching a little bit just to give you a Mavs player, but someone to look out for could be Cooper Flagg on his rebounds, depending on where his line comes out at. His last 6 games, he's had 7, 6, 9, 5, 8, and 10. So yeah, if it's at like 5.5, yeah, I think it's great. If it's at 6.5, then potentially you could take it. But if you do like an alt line, parlay 6+ could be something to look at. But that's me just reaching just to give you a Mavs player. But also, Anthony Davis could just pop up and play at any point, so it could change things here for the Mavericks. But right now they're just it's really tough. So I'm gonna lean the Bucks on the road. I really don't like taking teams on back-to-backs this much, but the Mavericks just really are not that good right now until they get some of these injured stars back. Next one's gonna be the Pelicans at the Suns. Suns are 7.5-point favorites. Pelicans will not have Jordan Poole or Zion, and then Vis Misi is questionable. The Suns, Jalen Green is out again. That sucks. He got off to a really hot start, got injured very early in the last game, and now who knows how long he's going to be out for. So the Pelicans are 4-5 against the spread, but they've hit in 4 out of their last 5, so they're playing better. The Suns are 6-4 against the spread, but they're 5 out of their last 6, so playing better. Pelicans are a top 5 matchup for scoring and the 6th most rebounds given up. So I really like this matchup for Mark Williams for the Suns, especially Vis Misi, their center, is remaining out. So his stats since joining the starting lineup are what you see on the screen. One of those unders was a blowout. The other under was a really tough Spurs defense. So his double-doubles in play here, and the Pelicans are giving up the 9th most points and the 3rd most rebounds to the center position. So really like Mark Williams. And then there's not really any Pelicans players that I trust right now. Trey Murphy just dropped 41 points. So I don't see that happening again. He is a very streaky shooter, but he's also hit 5 3-pointers in his last 5 games. And if you don't believe me, I'll put the data on the screen. He is a very streaky shooter. So he's been hot lately. He could come out and just knock them all down. Maybe take his 3-point line and knock it down to 2.5 on like a parlay or something like that. It could be solid, or you could just go for it for 4+. But yeah, he's been good. Other than that, it's really hard to find some consistency with this team. So This is the battle of a bad team and then battle of a mediocre team. Both of them are playing well lately. I was considering the Pelicans here, but since the Suns have been playing so well as of late, I will take the Suns at home with the 7.5. Next one is the Timberwolves at the Jazz. Timberwolves are 7.5-point favorites. I filled all this out and then I noticed that Timberwolves were playing on Sunday, so then I had to redo it again because they're on a back-to-back. So Timberwolves are on a back-to-back and they will be traveling. They just played the Jazz on Friday and they blew out the Jazz by 40 points. Neither team has any new injuries. The Timberwolves could do some type of injury management because Anthony Edwards was out for a while, so that's the really big question mark here is, I wouldn't go and just bet this line until you know more about how they're going to manage the back-to-back. So Wolves are 3-6 against the spread, but they've hit 3 out of the last 4. And then the Jazz are 5-4 against the spread, but they've only hit 1 out of the last 5. Since Walker Kessler has gone out, they have really struggled against teams. They haven't been able to stop people down low. He was just a big body to be able to go up against bigs for rebounds, and they've just been awful. So one big takeaway from the game that they played and someone to look out for, the Jazz give up the 4th most assists, so you got to take a look at who's the distributor going up against the Jazz. And that game, it was Julius Randle. So Julius Randle had 12 assists, so that's something I would look out for. The Jazz also give up the 8th most points. Anthony Edwards had 37 against them, but he is playing on that back-to-back. So Anthony Edwards, obviously, his line is going to be really high if he does play. But I think Julius Randle, kind of getting forgotten here. They're playing right now, so I don't know how they're doing. But I think Julius Randle is getting a little forgotten now that Anthony Edwards is back. So I think his points and assists could be something you could take a look at. And as far as the Jazz go, they don't really have any really good matchups, and they didn't have a very good showing versus Timberwolves. So, and as far as a lean goes, if everyone plays for the Timberwolves, I like the Timberwolves. If Anthony Edwards and the other guys start sitting, I actually like the Jazz for like a revenge game at home as a 7.5-point underdog. So that one's tough to tell. And this next one's going to be the Hawks versus the Clippers. Clippers are 5.5-point favorites. For the Hawks, Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Jalen Johnson are questionable. That is 2 of their most consistent scorers. You might be thinking, Nickeil Alexander-Walker? Yes, he was scoring around 16 points a game, 16, 17. He was doing really well. And then for the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard is out and Bradley Beal is questionable. And then for the Hawks, they're 4-6 against the spread. The Clippers are 1-8 against the spread. So they're right there like with the Wizards, the way they've been playing. And for the Hawks, a guy who's kind of shined a little bit, especially in that blowout against the Lakers, is Dyson Daniels. Rebounds and assists. He had 8 rebounds and 13 assists. And he was a big name last year, consistently hitting his rebounds and assists. So him getting that spotlight there with rebounds and assists, I would definitely take a look at his line, especially if it's at like 10.5 where it was for the last game. And then for the Clippers, there's only one guy that seems to want to be playing in a Clippers jersey, and that's a Zubac. The Hawks give up the 5th most rebounds to teams, and he's had 15, 11, 7, 18, 11, and 12 over the last 6 games. His line normally is pretty high at like 11.5. I wouldn't take 11.5. If it's at like 10.5, I would consider it. So it depends on where that's at, but it is a really good matchup for rebounding for Zubac. And for a lane, I'm going to take the Hawks. They play with a lot of heart against the Lakers. Clippers are playing heartless right now, so I'll take the Hawks on the road as underdogs. So that is the entire slate, all 9 games. Hope you do well. If you want to discuss lines further, I have a Discord. Link is in the description. Hop on in there. Talk about football, basketball, all that good stuff. That is completely free. As far as a recap goes, these past few videos, I've just thrown up a bunch of stuff on the screen. Haven't done like any official plays to recap. But I know as far as like the spreads went on the leans, I think I was a little bit under 50%. For that one, and then the props were a little bit over 50%. that I had thrown up on the screen, but a lot of stuff was thrown off because of random injuries that were popping up that weren't on the injury report the night before, because so many teams were on a back-to-back because of that Friday slate. With the cup games where none of them are on a back-to-back. Pretty much every team was on a back-to-back the next day, so it kind of really threw everything off. And it's tough to tell when you have random guys popping up like Darius Garland's out now, and it's like, okay, well, I wouldn't have taken Jared Allen. So it is what it is. But hopefully we have a good Monday. I'm going to get this one edited and get it out to you all. God bless you. It's a fun round. My name is Jordan. I will catch you on the next one. Bye.